Hey, we're back. Hey guys, Lex the Gray here. This is going to be a simple one-shot using Cairn RPG. These are the four characters I have: Glass, Tallman, and Harper and Cormac. Now, the numbers associated with them are the numbers on the mat, so they're classless. They're just adventurers, and I call them the Shadowspire Guild just in case this expands beyond one video. So my hope for this little venture with the Shadowspire Guild is that I'm going to reuse his characters over time in different one-shots. So not really specific to a world, just in different episodic uh, entries. So that way I can probably upgrade these guys over time. Now, little lore here, what's going on? Our team just entered this market. The market is being overrun by these six hobgoblins. They are vicious, heavily armored, and they're currently raiding these vendors. So there are these three vendors booths that are being raided. The public has been evacuated. They are out of the picture. So we have free reins to attack and clear this area of these six hobgoblins. That is the task that we have to complete as the Shadowspire Guild. For whatever reason, we have to do it. Now, it's going to be a narrative approach with combat. So we have to see who is currently going first as far as moves. I'm thinking that we can roll a dex save for my fastest character, who is going to be number 4, and that's Cormac. He has a dexterity of 16. So if he rolls a 16 or less, then he's able to make the first move in this game. Now, we will use a d20 here. I'm going to roll it now. So I roll sometimes I'll roll it off camera on this little tray, or I'm going to try to roll it on the mat so you guys can see it. So we got to roll 16 or higher. That's 11, which means Cormac, who is 4, will be able to move first. Now, in Karen, you can move up to 40 feet. So if we are treating this like a traditional combat sequence with narrative flair, I'm going to move him essentially 40 feet worth of squares. They're currently hiding, I'd say, right behind these barrels, and the other two are hiding just in this corner behind this little building. So I think Cormac, he's a mercenary, that's his background. He has chainmail armor +2. He has a D8 sword. He's got a helmet, shield, a magic dampener spell, and a few trinkets: spyglass, manual drill, and perfume. So his focus is obviously going to be close range combat, and that's going to be, again, number 4. So 40 feet would be essentially here. Let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, or 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 to get up close behind this little booth and hide. So with the roll of 11, I'm going to allow Cormac to successfully stealthily get behind this booth because everybody essentially has their backs turned. Gee, I wonder who set that up. So we're going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And then next is going to be uh, Glass. Glass is a hunter. So I'd say he is going to be right behind his friend Cormac. So these two probably work together quite often. Now let's roll for a deck save to see if he can get behind this booth also. So we're going to roll it. That is a 3, and his dex is 14, so that it's obviously going to be a success. And again, 40 feet. We have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. I'd say right here. Perhaps their heads are just poking up behind a bunch of baskets of fruit or food. Now we have our other two comrades right in this corner, the southwest corner of the screen. We got to see what they want to do. And I'll put the tray here now because that area is vacant. So number 2 is Tolman. He is a gravedigger. He is very slow, or I should say, has very low dexterity of 4. These numbers are rolled up with a D3D6. But he is a brute. He has a high roll, a strength of 16, so a very strong fighter. He's got Brigandine armor, a D8 axe, grappling hook, pole, tongs, and mirror. And he has a pretty good HP. Obviously, I did boost the HP because this is a solo play. He has HP of 9. I don't think I mentioned the stats of Hunter, but if you want to take a little quick pause there just to see it, I will forget at times to detail what their stats say. But let's focus now on Tolman. Tolman is, like I said, he's a brute. He's a big guy. He's got a strength of 16. These characters don't have descriptions yet. I'm gonna work this out in the first session here. I want to get my feet wet with the gang, with the Shadowspire Guild, see how these guys operate based on the narrative, and we'll go from there. So his dex is so bad that he has to roll 4 or less to at least get closer to the gang. But because he's a gravedigger, I think he's not very, let's see, bright, if that is appropriate. Because I'm thinking he's lived such a secluded lifestyle that he's to himself a lot. He does his job, he goes home, calls it a day. But again, without going too deep into detail, being a gravedigger means he's a strong dude, but he's not the brightest. His willpower is 12, which is above average, so I'll give him that. So let's say that with a dex of 4, he sees Cormac and Glass were able to get behind this booth. And perhaps before this adventure started, they were in a alleyway behind trying to figure out, making a plan what to do. So the big guy, I'm gonna say that three's Harper. He's a magician. He's the smartest one in the group in the Shadowspire Guild. He has an 18 willpower, so he is the brightest. So we have the brute and the brightest working side by side, along with the two stealthiest fighters, the two stealthiest adventurers. So I think that Harper 3 is coaching, is telling I'm sorry, Tolman, to not rush in here. These hobgoblins are well equipped. He can tell. Now let's roll a will save to see if if 3, Harper, can spot what these hobgoblins are wearing, because he is kind of in sight here. He can probably see this hobgoblin right here. So we got rolled 18 or less. He has to kind of lean out. 15, that's good. So he can spot the team, these two paired hobgoblins dealing with this booth at the moment. So he's going to tell to Tolman that take it easy. These guys are well equipped. I recommend we go in this stealthily. Tolman, it says, kind of probably shrugs it off. And let's roll to see if Tolman wants to get in there 40 feet, get close, and he wants to bash some heads. So we have to roll 4 or less for dexterity for this to work. And look at that, it's a failure. So because it's a failure, I got to roll with it, pun intended. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And let's say he trips on something or he kicks something right here. He is trying to approach the hobgoblins and they get startled. So they see him or they hear the sound. These two turn and now are going to be in an encounter with Tolman. Now, again, Tolman's a brute. He's a big guy. This is our first encounter. So these two are like crap. And obviously, we have Harper. He's disappointed, shaking his head, and he's also going to run in. But because he alerted these two guys, I will give Harper a chance to get in there too, but he has to roll a 9 or less. Okay, that's a 9. So he's barely able to get in there. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He's gonna stand right here. He'll stand right here. So they're all back together. They're all in line now. But I'm gonna have this hobgoblin attack Tolman. So he will unsheath his sword, and I'm gonna say these guys are all D4. These two are probably going to be the lower end of the spectrum as far as difficulty. So this hobgoblin will attack Tolman at that angle, and we have to roll a D4 because there is no AC here. There is no roll for attack. You just roll for damage. So D4. Two, that's a damage of one because Tolman has armor of one. So he has now 8 HP. But now Tolman is going to attack. He has a D8 axe, which is pretty significant. We're rolling for damage here. 4. All right. Let's say that hurts and wounds this hobgoblin. So he is wounded. I will give a chance for the other hobgoblin to jump in realistically and attack. So while these two are fighting, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, this guy is going to be a little tougher and use a D6 attack die. And he will attack Tolman. 4, that's 3 damage. 7, 6, 5, so he's down to 5 now. Okay. Which means Tolman has to retaliate and attack with his axe. So which is a D8. 2 damage. Okay, so that probably won't do much at this hobgoblin. As you can see, I'm not tracking health. I'm not tracking any data details with the hobgoblins. I'm doing this strictly off behind the scenes. So uh, keeping it keeping you guys in suspense here. So this hobgoblin is takes a cut, but not much damage. Now the other team can attack. So we have the uh, Cormac will step in and attack this hobgoblin right here. Cormac has, I'm sorry, not Cormac, that is Harper. Harper is 3. He's going to attack this hobgoblin who's currently fixed on uh, Tolman. Still getting used to the names. So Harper is going to roll his mace at a D8, so it's still pretty decent. That is going to be 6 damage. I'm going to say that takes out this hobgoblin for good. So this hobgoblin panics. He's going to attack back at Harper for killing his comrade. And this will be a D6 roll at Harper. That's 4. Harper has an armor of 2, so he's down to 5. Okay. Remember, this guy's probably 2 out of 3 hits left. So these two, let's check to see if they have any long-range weapons. So Cormac doesn't have anything. He has a magic dampener, but so far none of these hobgoblins have shown any magic yet. As far as the figures go, this one is probably the only one that has any magic. It looks like to be a mage of swords. So number uh, Glass also has no long range weapons. So all my characters are up close and personal. None of them have a bow, nothing. But that's good for at least stealth. However, because this little bout's happening, I'm going to say that these two now they were busy looting this booth. I'm going to say she turns around and notices that these two are gone. So she's going to step this way 1 tile. He turns around. He turns to his right and sees the commotion, perhaps. Now, these two, 1 and 4, Cormac and Glass, spot her approaching the team, so they will jump out because I think they have an advantage here. They're hiding. They're going to jump out and try to attack these two. They're just going to run and gun up here, while these two way up here are obviously distracted, not really focused on what their team is doing. So 1 and 4 are going to roll a combined uh, dex roll. So 1 is Glass. He has a dex of 14. 4 is Cormac. He has a dex of 16. So I'm going to say they both have to roll 16 or less. Look at that. One of them does. Okay, so I will say that the one with the highest dex is Cormac. Cormac is able to run around. We'll let him run through. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. He runs up to her. But the fail throw, the 17, is going to be on Glass. Was just one short. So if we do a degree success, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to say that this hobgoblin right here, or let's say this one, turns around. Here's the footsteps of the team. He's a long range. He has an arrow, a bow and arrow. So he's going to fire an arrow at 4, but because the roll is literally 1 off, the arrow will miss. So the arrow will hit the booth. That will cause uh, Glass to kind of step back. So now 4 will attack her, this hobgoblin. She'll be a d6 for damage, but Cormac, has a d8 sword. Let's roll a d8. Oops, 1 does no damage. She blocks it, or she parries. Let's say she jumps out of the way. She's going to attack Cormac. So Cormac has a pretty good armor of 4, which is by Cairn standards pretty high. 2, so she does no damage to him. Back to here, this goblin is attacking number 3, that's Harper. The goblin will roll d6. 4, Harper takes 2 damage, so he's down to 3 now. I'm going to say that let's give an attack to Tolman, number 2. Tolman will use his axe on the hobgoblin really on right in front of him. 1, I'm going to say that will wound him, perhaps, but not enough. Not really considering armor at the moment for this hobgoblin, but I think that was a pretty pathetic attempt. So now let's get back up to here. So 4 will be Cormac. Cormac will attack her with the d8 sword that he has. 5. I'd say that's at least half damage done to her. So she steps back, and this guy will step forward. He will turn around to see what's happening. He has a longsword. He'll fire an arrow at a d6 arrow at 4 at Cormac. That's 2. Luckily, 4 armor blocks all of that, and then some. So 1, let's focus on him. He's going to rush and attack this hobgoblin. He has not been part of the fight just yet. So Glass will run well within the 40 feet range and attack him with a d8 sword. So let's roll for damage. 6 is a pretty good strike. So he takes pretty good amount of damage, but he's still in the game. He will retaliate and roll a d6 damage. Whoops, 2, that's not enough because Glass has 3 armor. So let's focus back down here. The number 3 has not done much recently. Harper is going to attack this hobgoblin right here. And let me lower the camera so you guys can see it a little more. There we go. That's better. Okay, so Harper's going to attack this hobgoblin with his mace. That will be a d8. 6 damage. Okay, he's definitely out. So he's out too. Now, while this was happening here, this goblin up top is going to rush 4, and that's Cormac. So 5, 10, 15. I'm going to say he has a pretty good. He looks like to be a big dude, so I'll give him a d8 attack on this one. So rolling for 8 damage. 2, though not enough. 4 armor. How ironic. Number 4 for the character, for the uh, the token, the dice, and he has a 4 armor. Number 4. So he blocks that. But I'm going to give Cormac a chance to retaliate and strike back because of that low damage. 1, not enough. That will not hurt him. Let's get back to her. She's going to attack uh, Coleman. Sorry, Glass. Glass is going to have to take some damage here, though he has HP of 12 and he has not been hurt or hit yet. She will attack on the D6. Whoops. There we go. 2. Okay, that's not enough. He has armor of 3. He will retaliate against her. He has a D8 sword. 5. I'm going to say that knocks her out, or she's dead. So this guy, this goblin here, will attack, avenge her death, and strike Glass head on. Apply directly to the forehead. So let's do so with a D8. Ooh, 8 damage minus 3. That is going to be 765. So he's down to by 5 to 7 now. So that was a pretty good decent hit, but luckily his armor took most of it, or I should say took some of it. Okay, now let's get back to these two. They're going to join the fight and get up in this area here in the middle of the market. So we have our Harper is going to do 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And then while this was all happening, Tolman's going to move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. He wants to get close to that ranger. So let's continue on here. Let's count down on our list here, or count up. 1, we're gonna give Glass an attack. He's going to attack this hobgoblin here with his D8. 6, that is definitely a good amount of damage, so he's out. This goblin's going to strike, or I should say, is going to strike 3. Harper's going to have to take some damage here. 3, 2 armor, so he's down just by 1. All right. Okay. Now let's focus on the ranger. The ranger is going to shoot an arrow at 2, who is Tolman. However, because he's so close, I'm going to have to take minus 1 damage from it, or only reduce it down to D4 damage. 3, which is unfortunately damage taken, because Tolman has armor of 1. He now is down to 3. Okay, so our team has taken some hits, but they have 2 more hobgoblins left. 2, Tolman's going to retaliate and attack the archer with his D8 axe. 5 damage. I'd say that's going to be mortally wounded. So he is going to be mortally wounded. Let's remember that. Arrow archer is mortally wounded. Let's focus on this hobgoblin here is panicking because he is surrounded. He's going to strike the new arrival of Harper. And we'll roll for a D8 because, again, he's the biggest. 3 damage is, oh, not nullified completely. It's going to be HP, a reduction of 1 because he has armor of 2. So Harper's down to his last HP before he hits the scars table, if it's 0. So we are going to follow Cairn rules to some extent. Now 4, Cormac's going to have the chance to attack the big guy right there with his sword of a D8. 5 is going to be enough to tank to kill him. So he collapses also. The archer is panicking. He pulls back and he doesn't have a dagger or anything. He's gonna fire an arrow at 2 because that's the closest. Actually, you know what? Let's fire him. Let's have him attack 4 because he just took out his remaining ally. So 4 arrow will be a D6 for this one, or let's say D8 because he's far away. 3, not enough. McCormick has the most armor, 4. So the arrow bounces off his chest plate. And I think Cormac is going to charge and attack, jump over the dead corpse of the hobgoblin, rush and strike the archer with his sword. I will give advantage because he's rushing him, so we'll do a little rule hack here. 2d8s, and we'll choose the highest of the roll. So that's going to be 4 damage, and that's obviously going to be a kill. Okay, so the team has vanquished these hobgoblins. And what I'm going to do now is have them loot. So we'll start with one. He's going to loot this hobgoblin right here. Let me get the book out because not the book. I have a pocket edition of this. So I'm just showing you guys briefly here, but I will look at it while I move my dice aside. There we go. So let's say, what does essentially one here, what does one need? What does Glass need? I'm going to kind of reward him here. He has three armor. He got a sword, but let's give him, let's see, what can we give him here? Perhaps a potion. I'm going to give him a potion. He finds a potion, and then he finds a some gold of, let's say, 10 gold pieces. So he's up to 21 gold pieces. And then we'll give him a dagger, which is a d6. Okay, so that's all he finds on this brute. The next one, Free will look and loot this hobgoblin right here. What does Three got so far? So Three has brigandine armor. His armor is at 2. He's got a shield. He's got a staff and a mace. So weapons, he's good. But he could use, let's say he finds a helmet for +1 to bump him up to 3 armor. Okay, which is good for now. So 3 armor. He also finds a potion and, let's say, 2 gold pieces. Okay, now that's going to be Harper. He's going to use this potion, or we'll just heal him at, well, in Cairn, you heal pretty fast. You just need a short rest. You can literally just sit down for a second to heal, because HP is not health, essentially. It's just damage you can take. Let's have 4 loot the archer in the back here. He was, let's see, what's McCormick have? He has got a lot of armor, so he's good on armor department. He's got a good weapon, sword. He has, let's say, let's give him a crossbow that I'm going to modify from what this archer was originally using. So the crossbow's D8 damage, and that's it. Perhaps he finds 30 gold pieces. Okay. Now the remaining one is 2. Two's going to loot this goblin here. 2 has Tolman has not a lot of armor, so I'm going to give him a slight upgrade in armor. We'll give him a helmet. We'll give him a shield, which is +1. That was a fighter, I believe. So that ups his armor to 2. And then we'll give him one more item. I'm thinking of a weapon. Let's give him a warhammer. Ooh, that's perfect, warhammer. Because that was the biggest guy. So it does make sense. A warhammer is a D10, so Kalman has the biggest weapon right now. Okay, so that's it. Our team, the Shadowspire Guild, has officially or successfully vanquished this market of the raiding hobgoblins, and the corpses are going to be cleaned up by the local guard. The team reconvenes and discusses how it went. They clean themselves up and they will heal. So I'm going to heal them all back to normal. Luckily, none of them took any scars. But in Cairn, when you take scars, you do actually you can improve your stats. But in my modified rules of this game and the Pocket Edition, I'm going to actually level them up. Not now, obviously, it's the first one shot. But you can level up if you want to modify the rules. This little Pocket Edition by Silverblade or Silver Nightingale on itch.io. It's called the Cairn Pocket Edition. Pocket Edition, it has a few optional leveling systems. You can gain experience points traditionally. You gain a new level every 1,000. Increased XP needed. A good start would be between 5 to 100. You gain XP. You can basically experience points are granted at a rate of 1 XP for every 1 gold. So you can track it based on gold. Optional adventuring leveling, which I'm probably going to favor. Level up after completing a number of adventures equal to your current level. Reset adventure count after each level up. So basically, we just completed this. They're all level 1, so I can level them up to 2. But next level up, they have to complete 2 quests to level up beyond that. And I do like that one actually. And then you can increase HP and ability scores each time you level up. Roll a 1d6 and add to your HP total. Reroll each ability score with 3d6. If the result's higher, increase it by 1. So because they are technically level 1s, I'm going to, as easy as this video was strictly just back to basics. I just wanted to do a conventional tabletop. Tabletop. Okay, so let's level them up. So right now I'm going to level them up to 1. Let's move all these guys off camera or off the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So let's focus on 1 first. We'll write down their level. I'd say probably in a good spot. Let's do it in the notes. So level 2. So for this, you have to re-roll their HP. 1d6 and add to your HP total. Okay, whoops. Completely just knocked them off the table here. Okay, so let's 1 HP. That's 5. Nice. So he gets 5, but he won't heal just yet. So that's 17 HP for our first guy. And then we got to roll 3d6 for the ability scores. And if it's higher, I think it would it say if it's higher? If it's higher, then it goes up. If it's equal, no increase. So here's for strength. 9, 10, 11, nothing for strength. Dexterity, that's a 6, 10, 11, nothing for dexterity. And willpower, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's nothing for willpower. Okay. All right, level 2 for Tolman. All right, so we're going to roll his health first. He gets 5 health. Looks like it's going to be 14 total. Again, no heal, strictly max increase. And then strength is pretty high already. So, okay, so we have 6, 11, 14. That's not going to be good enough. Dexterity will undoubtedly go up. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, dexterity goes up by 1. So we'll increase his much needed dexterity up by 1 based on this quick one shot for the Shadowspire Guild. And then we will increase, we'll see how willpower does. 6, 10, 11. That's not an increase for willpower. Okay, next level 2 for Harper. Okay, so we're going to roll a d6 for his health. 1, that's pretty bad. Maybe more. Okay, and then 3d6 for his ability scores. That's going to be 6, 11, 12, 13, 14. That does go up by 1. So that puts him up to 2. And then for dexterity, which is 9, which is slightly below average. Oh, nice. So that's going to be an increase. Okay, so increase by 1. Good. He needed, not wasn't dire, but it's not good to have. His willpower is maxed out, so we cannot roll for that. Next is, because you got to roll 3d6, you can't roll a d20. Let's see. We rolled his health. Next is McCormick. I see keep saying McCormick. McCormick, level 2. We'll roll a d6 for his health. 5. Not bad. So he's up to 11 now. Okay. We'll do for strength 10, 14. That's an increase. Okay. Next is dexterity, which is unlikely we'll increase it, but we'll give it a shot. Well, actually, 11. 15. Okay, no, that's not. Down by one. Next is willpower, which looks like we can increase. Nope, we tied it, of course. Okay, so no increase for Cormac, but that is it for the leveling system of this Pocket Edition. That's how it works. It's very simple, and I do like the concept of having to complete the amount of quest per the level. So now it's been reset to level 2. So we have to complete 2 more quests if I don't forget that moving forward. But right now we're at 0. Next quest will be 1, and then 2 again. Then we can level up after that. So that's it for my for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, back to basics for this one, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.